electrical stuff, some level of plumbing stuff. Like in my household growing up, my grandfather was like that, and he taught my dad how to do all that stuff, and my dad taught me how to do all that stuff. So like I have a fairly wide range of like just general life skills that you can apply to, anything. We live in the society nowadays where people they start to specialize to the point where they don't know how to do anything. They can't even replace like a basic wall socket for their plugins and things like that. Like that's the level we're at, and that's why specialization is bad, because it breeds this idea of, oh well, I need to call a specialist in to do really basic things that anyone should be able to do, and we should try to build things to so that basic people can fix it rather than a specialist. And specifically with cars and vehicles, I get really annoyed with this specifically.
So for
So
some, okay, I can kind of agree, but specialists are necessary. So like you want specialized doctors and stuff, right? You
yes,
you don't want the average.
yes, yes, yes.
Sure, but
I'm not. Listen, should everyone be a doctor? No, because nobody has time. Not everyone has time for that. But should everyone know enough first aid to like keep people alive? Yes.
I mean we already have we already do that in the U.S. We don't. There's not specialized people
Most
for.
people most people don't know first aid.
We don't have people specialized in the Heimlich maneuver though. That's not a thing.
No, but I mean, most people just kind of expect, oh, if there's someone with an issue, we'll just take him to the doctor. But
Well,
like, if
that's a
there is
problem.
someone who needs the Heimlich maneuver,
Well, that's a problem with education then, and not necessarily much else, right? That then we should teach first aid and like
but
some basic stuff in schools.
sure, yes, sure, yes. But the problem is, Sonic, is that because we expect healthcare people like a doctor or even nurses. I mean, it's fine. We're going so specialist that doctors have become like uber specialists, nurses have become like doctors, and now we have CNAs who do the job of nurses. And we basically expect like we're building a system where if you want anything healthcare related, you need to go to like a CNA, and then if the CNA can't fix it, that you go to a nurse, and if the nurse can't fix it, you go to
Well,
like a specialist doctor.
well, I think specialists in terms of medical field are necessary. So like brain surgeon, like specialized
I'm
brain
not saying they're
surgeons.
not.
I don't
You're
quite.
missing what I'm saying. You're missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying everyone should be a brain surgeon, but like there is a level that we should be trying, that people should strive to train for. But because of specialization, because everyone is becoming a specialist, we are more and more going down towards that path where we might literally eventually have people who are like specialized to do basic first aid and things like that. Like I can foresee that happening.
I don't foresee that for happening. No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think as we go on, I think more and more people are starting to learn these basic things instead of less.
I mean, okay, then what is a CNA? Because the CNA literally does what nurses used to do 20 years ago.
Well, there's different as times move on. There's different things in fields that can occur,
That's
but
what I'm saying. That
but
is literally what I'm
but for
saying.
more basic things, more people are starting to learn this kind of stuff, right? Like first aid is something that a lot of people, at least in my generation, kind of know at least some basic thing of it because they saw it in media or
No,
they've learned it in
no,
some way.
no. That is not true at all. If you ask someone to wrap an H bandage, like just random people on the street, I'm willing to bet the majority of people would not be able to do it. And with vehicles
But
specifically, I would. I'm like more and more people are not knowing how to do basic things like change their oil in their car and
but
things like
the
that.
the
Like
amount of
you're a prime example
but
of that.
the access of information is there so that way they don't need a specialist. They can just do it themselves if they have the will to with the
But
access
they
of
don't.
information
But they don't. The problem is
because they
they
don't have the
don't.
want
They don't
to
have. They
because they
don't.
don't want to.
Yes, and I'm saying people like what I'm saying is I'm saying people ought to not want to be specialists, and people ought to want to have a lot of general skills, and they don't.
The problem is then that it's people
I,
then, right?
Yeah.
mm,
Well, ultimately, go ahead, Dylan.
uh, just listening to the conversation as a whole, kind of reflecting on what Sonic said earlier about how most of his generation can do basic first aid. I completely disagree with that notion. I think that a lot of people
Thank you.
nowadays, and I don't think it's like a whole competing match of whether there should be more generalized, specialized, or we should specialize on one thing. Obviously, that's bad for just humanity in general. If
Yeah,
everybody
specializing
specialized in
in
a certain
every
category,
single thing is bad,
you
sure.
don't know how to work on, right? If you don't know how to work on anything else besides maybe your profession or your academic job, then obviously that's a problem. But
But
I
we
think
also have the access to
there should
information
be
that we don't
education.
need. We don't need stuff.
I think that there should be an education form that does show us how to, do basic maintenance on the infrastructure of our houses, basic maintenance on ourselves if we get injured. Like we should have classes for this, but the failing of the U.S. education system is what brought about this. So I kind of agree and disagree with both of you. I think
Well,
that specialization is a good thing, but I think the way we're trying to apply it in this kind of conversation, I think it should be a more education related thing. Like you can have academic education and personal education that leads to, how to maintain your own body health, what's good to eat, what isn't, survival tactics if you get in a bad situation,
Well,
yes, these
basic
these are all
maintenance in your
things.
house.
These are all things people should want to learn how to do,
Correct.
but they don't. And it partly is the U.S. education system. But Sonic is right also. And I've written about this on my Schizo website. Nobody wants to read. You can go read that article. But we live in a time where there is so much information. Like it is stupid how much information there is, and we don't. And people like people are not that well read. I talk to people on the street all the time because of my job and things like that. I interact with the public a lot. And people have not read anything. Like and I'm not just talking about like academic stuff, like anything. They don't know how to look up like how to fix something. Like there's this girl, she wants me to fix her car and what she wants me to do isn't that hard, but she doesn't even do the basic research to figure it out. And it's like I'm happy to do the work for you if you just don't want to do it because you don't want to do it, but like you don't even want to look up how to fix it and things like that. So,
could it be a laziness in
and
the
that's what I'm
U.S.?
talking
I
about.
mean, it's also a cultural thing because the U.S. is very hedonistic and very self-centered. Yeah, sure. People maybe don't want to learn about that shit
I don't
because of
think it's
our.
just I don't think it's just the US though. I see this happening all across the world, and I think it's just because humans in general are inherently lazy because life in general is inherently lazy because you
Uh,
do want to naturally conserve energy. So,
Yeah, it's a laziness, and it's like a weird paradox thing where when there's more access to something, less people want to access that thing because they think it's readily available anytime they possibly need it.
yeah. Well, and so this is my point is that we should try I say the royal we like people in general should try to seek out changing their mindset to want to learn how to do basic things like that or more complex things. I'm not saying that specialization isn't necessary. Like we definitely need specialists at some level to do certain things. Like we need engineers to engineer things.
Brain surgeons.
We need brain surgeons and stuff. Exactly. But like just because we need brain surgeons doesn't mean that everyone should just focus on that one thing forever. Like in my article about specialization, I actually said it would be ridiculous. Like we all agree that it would be ridiculous if we got to the point where we got to mechanics where literally one mechanic's job was to turn one bolt one way and then the other mechanic's job was to turn that same bolt the other way. Like that would be a ridiculous level of specialization, right?
Yeah, I don't
Sure.
think we'd ever get to that point though.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I think we're going there right now, and we literally I don't think we'll ever literally get there, but I could foresee a future where we basically do stuff in that same vein.
No, I
Or
just
get
don't
robots
quite.
to do it. I mean,
It's I think we'll get to automation before we ever get to anything like humans at least getting to that point. I think automation will
I don't
far
maybe.
surpass before we ever get to that point. Which at that point, then automation is just straight up just specialization of single tasks. But
Well,
it's
sure. I mean, who cares then? But
yeah.
I'm talking about the here and now. Like I'm literally talking about like go out today and tell people
So
learn something new,
yeah, the
learn how
problem
to do
I
something
think
new today.
the problem with your theory is that once you get to that point where things are just like the most mundane things are just being automated, like being manually done through specialization, then it's just cheaper just to replace it with machines at that point. In which case, then that's where automation comes from, right?
Maybe. I mean, there are some things that we can't that specialization requires that we can't automate. Like for
For
example,
now. For
if you
now.
want to, well, I mean, like, so petroleum engineering is super complex because you have to know a lot about, physics, geography, geology.
Sure.
You have to know
Yeah.
about like you have to know a wide range of stuff for one specialization, and we can't automate that right now. So like,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
we can
now.
automate like certain tasks, but not
Yeah,
everything.
like the turning, like building cars, where people used to be more specialized in certain areas of building a car, and now the whole entire process is
Okay,
automated. So
we can't automate. We literally can't automate fixing a car right now, which is why
yeah, right now,
mechanic,
for
building a,
now.
a car is. I'm only talking about that right now, dude. That's what I'm
But
saying.
that
I'm
the
saying
but
right
that's but
now.
that's the problem, is that what we're talking about is an automate, like we're trying to do something, and then in the future we're going to see like bad consequences of it. But the thing that's going on now is going to eventually get replaced by automation anyways, because so many people are trying to
Well, I
specialize in a certain
well, why
field.
why
I wouldn't say that's a guaranteed future.
well,
I would
yeah,
say it's
one,
a little
that's
more
not.
nuanced.
I don't know. I don't know if we
There's
can
more
build
nuance to
robots
the
to fix
question.
cars.
I think we can. It's all manual stuff anyways. It's stuff that if humans can do it in some capacity, a machine could do it just as good, if not better.
Machines
Maybe.
are just being able to walk. They just got past that point of being
Well,
even able to
what's crazy
walk
is that
or fire a gun.
specialized machines don't need to
I
walk for the
mean,
most part. They really walking
okay,
is a
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to turn this into an AI debate. I don't care about that. Like, I don't care about what happens X number of years in the future. I am literally talking about
well. That's
right
what.
now,
Well, hold,
this
that's what
very second.
happens. That's what happens with specialization, though. When a field gets so mundanely specialized, it's just cheaper to automate that thing instead. So it gets automated instead of having that one person to turn the bolt one way and then have the other person turn the bolt the other way. It's just easier to have a machine do it
Okay,
by
but
itself.
But we don't have the what I know what Delta's arguing. We don't have the technology in the now. So
yes.
for the present day solution, what would be your
Sonic,
thesis?
literally right now, this very second, there is no machine on Earth that can fix cars. There's nothing that can do it. There's no
Incorrect.
automation made machine that can do that. Only people
And
can
I
do
don't
that.
see
And what I
and I
am
don't see. But
saying,
the problem is, I don't see
shut up,
specialization as
shut
a
up, shut up. Wait, wait, wait,
problem.
wait, wait.
I don't see specialization as a problem right now.
It
That's
is
why.
it is a problem because people are getting into the habit of, oh, my car is broken. I will go to a specialist to fix it rather than I will try to figure out how to fix it myself.
Because people
See,
don't
I'm
need
too
to.
broke to
They
go to a
have they
fucking
don't have a want to.
specialist.
But that's not a problem with specialization. It's a problem of laziness in education. That's the problem. It's not a problem with
Okay, cool.
specialization.
I'm glad we agree about the diagnosis.
Sure.
I just don't think the cure is. You're saying we'll just wait for the future to happen. I'm saying why don't we just fix it right now
Because
by
like
changing people's
I agree.
mindset?
We should probably change it. I mean, I want to change the education in several different kinds of ways. Sure. But I don't see specialization as a problem as it is right now. It could be a problem in the future, but by the time it is a problem in the future, there'll already be things to replace it anyways. So it's not a problem. To me, it's a non-problem.
Well, okay. So the reason why I don't like specialization is because specialization is a type of tyranny. Because if you require a specialist to fix your stuff, you are at the mercy of whether that specialist will do it for you or won't. And I don't like the idea that people aren't self-capable unto themselves. I would much rather people be responsible and capable unto themselves rather than reliant on a specialist to do something for them, which can be turned at the drop of a hat,
But don't
off and
people?
on and stuff like that.
But don't people also have the right to go to a specialist if they want to go to a specialist?
Sure, I've not once ever argued that specialists should we should
Yeah,
throw
and
all specialists into the wood chipper. I'm
and
not
hold
saying
on,
that,
and
and I'm not saying.
most people would rather go to a specialist for things because it's just easier for them. It's more convenient for them instead of having to learn new things. Sure, if they already knew these things, that'd be great. But most people don't care enough. They'd rather worry about other things or care
we're
about other
we're, we're
things.
going we're going we're going in circles because
This is gonna turn into a technocracy in the future. Then, and
yeah,
by
exactly,
I don't think
exactly.
so. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I said, I don't see it as a
Where
problem right
the
now.
people who are in
But by
specialized,
the
they're in
problem,
specialized positions and they have all the power, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
I think
literally.
well,
Thank you.
the problem for me is that I don't see specialization necessarily as a problem right now, and by the time it becomes a problem in the future, in my eyes, there will already be machines to fix that problem long before it becomes a problem in my eyes.
We're
And I
It
don't.
making a
was
circular
wait, wait,
argument
wait,
here.
wait.
We're not getting anywhere.
Wait,
No,
wait,
we're
wait,
not.
wait, wait,
Argument.
wait, 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 wait. I can wait, hold on. We can I will demonstrate to you how it is happening literally right now. During COVID, we literally turned into a technocracy where the NIH ruled the country for 3 years, and look at what happened. It was a disaster. It was terrible.
I didn't quite see it as a technocracy. No.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Anthony Fauci literally he could do no wrong. He could go on the mainstream media and
Yeah, he
punch.
can
He went out one time. He went out and said wear two masks, and people started wearing two masks.
because they wanted
it was
to.
fucking
But
bonkers.
with a technocracy, it's an authoritarian regime where you are forced
No,
to go
but-
by what the specialist says. The
but-
specialist can say one thing, and people can say and do whatever they want.
Sonic, COVID to me is such a clear example as to why technocracy is bad, because specialists in the end aren't really all that good, because
No, I agree.
people in general,
No, hold on.
even the best are shit at what they do.
So I think technocracies are bad. I agree with you. Technocracies are bad, but I didn't see the U.S. as a technocracy. Someone said, someone who they thought was specialist said one thing, and people followed it, but they weren't forced by law to follow it. If they didn't want to wear a mask, they didn't have to. But the problem was private businesses were being like, "Hey, you have to wear a mask," but they were private businesses that are going with
private businesses threatened by the government to do it.
not necessarily threatened by the
with
government.
Closure.
Not always. No.
They were threatened by the government. They were threatened by the government. Hardcore.
There
It
was,
was-
a legislative mandate in multiple states to force people to wear masks.
Yeah,
and get
individual
something done.
states-
It wasn't
and-
even legislative. It wasn't even legislative. The CDC threatened to close businesses down if they didn't follow, and the NIH threatened to close businesses down if they didn't follow mandates and things like that, which weren't legal. But what can you do when someone with the authority of government shows up to your business?
Were people forced to wear two
Absolutely.
masks, like Fauci had asked?
Nobody was, but so the reason why I brought up the two mask thing is he went on and he said, "Oh, wear two masks," and people uncritically just
Yes.
did what
Because
they were
people
told to
are
do,
dumb.
which is really fucking scary.
Yeah, people are dumb.
That should terrify
Yes.
you, Sonic.
No.
That should.
So we agree.
that-
People are lazy and fucking retarded. We agree on this.
It's not that people are dumb. It should scare you, because if someone can go on the TV and say that, what's them stopping them from saying go on TV and literally murder your neighbors who aren't wearing two masks?
Because we have laws and regulations in place
would
to
they
make
do
sure
it?
that they don't do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the laws and regulations. All the laws and regulations that stop the government from doing all the illegal shit they've done ever. Oh
Murder.
yeah.
When is
totally.
murder? When has murder been legal? Like murdering your neighbor, or anything like that, been legal in the U.S. minus the death penalty?
It's not legal. It's whether or not the
CIA
enforcement.
and the FBI get exempted from murder charges because
Well, in the military,
Yeah,
you can
especially.
kill.
Well,
But
that's
not even just that. It's wait, Sonic.
I forgot
Sonic,
the word for
Sonic.
it.
If a law is not enforced, is whatever that law enforcing legal or not?
At that
So,
point,
I'll
it's
give you an
probably
example.
not. It's probably not. There's dumb laws all over this
So
in different
if-
states. So yeah.
Wait. So if let's say there is a law that says you are not, there's a speeding law. It says speed limit 55 miles an hour, and literally everyone is driving 95 miles an hour down the stretch of road, and no cop ever pulls anyone over for going over 55 miles an hour. Is there a speeding law anymore?
In a sense, yes. In the legal sense, there technically still is that. So if someone, let's say a cop didn't like a certain person, they could pull them over for speeding down that 95 if they were going.
But it never happens. I'm saying it never happens. Not it could. It never happens ever in this hypothetical
in the legal
scenario.
in the legal sense, in the social sense, there is no law. In the legal sense, there still is that law, and they technically did break the law and can get pulled over if someone wills it.
Do you know the difference between de facto and de jure?
I probably need to be reminded.
De facto basically means as it is, and de jure means as it is written. And de jure, it is written that there is a law, but de facto there isn't.
Sure.
So in de facto, in reality, de facto is the only thing that really matters. So yeah, we can have a constitution, a piece of paper that says the government will not pass XYZ laws. But like during COVID, those XYZ laws were broken all the fucking time. And the enforcement arm of the government was the one breaking those laws, which they were supposed to be enforcing against themselves. So yeah, de jure, we have laws that said the government can do that, but de facto we didn't. And in reality, that's all that matters.
Okay.
So
I mean, is it like not common knowledge that the government actively is a hypocrite, like all the time? Like they violate constitutional rights, constitutional amendments
Sure,
of
I'm not
multiple
saying that they
U.S. citizens
don't.
all the time.
I'm not saying they don't.
literally assassinating American citizens overseas without charge or trial.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go, right
like
there.
what qualitative immunity I think it was.
Yeah, which is fucking horseshit.
Get out of
That's a
jail,
that's a
get out of
discussion
jail
unto
free
itself.
card, basically.
I
Get
guess
out
you
of
gotta
Yeah,
put that in the
well,
topics.
qualified immunity, not qualitative. Qualified immunity
qualified
basically
immunity.
means that like the person enforcing the law is the expert at enforcing the law. Therefore, they know how to enforce the law. So the justice system should defer to that, which is fucking horseshit because basically that like if a cop pulls you over and beats the shit out of you, the judge is going to say, well, you have to prove that they weren't doing anything wrong or that they were doing something wrong. Whereas, like, our system is built on the idea that you're innocent until proven guilty, which is, uh,
Yeah,
listen,
and the
we've gone
president
down a
gets
rabbit
that
hole
too.
because, like, I
De
hate speed.
facto, it's horseshit.
Yeah, and the
De
president
facto,
Yeah,
it's
president has that too.
Yeah, it's horseshit, and I don't agree.
So then you would say
people already think, yeah.
Trump and Biden or Trump and Obama should be in jail for the stuff they did, right?
But every president should be in jail. Every president.
There's one that you like though. There's one that you like.
Calvin Coolidge, and he's been dead. He's dead, so you can't jail a dead person.
Sure, you can.
Maybe piss on their grave a little bit, but you can't jail them.
But yeah, literally every president should be in jail. And I arguably probably most congressmen and senators and pretty much
Police.
everyone in government should be in jail to some degree.
And police.
Yeah, most police.
Oh, okay.
Most police do. It's funny. So there was a book years ago written. It's called Three Felonies, and it basically outlines how our justice, our code, our legal system, or not the legal system, but our like the statutes that are all across the U.S. There's so many statutes that if a cop follows you around and watches you closely, he could catch you committing at least 3 felonies a day. The same can be said for cops that like cops break 3 laws a day and they should be thrown in jail. So
good thing that a lot of
That's a
laws
different
aren't really
discussion
enforced.
about
Like
how many laws we
jaywalking's really not enforced anymore, unless you're in like major cities.
not even.
No, it depends on the situation, but most of the time, jaywalking isn't enforced. So, was it you said de facto?
So we don't have jaywalking laws.
Well, there are
de facto. We de facto don't have jaywalking laws.
Yeah. For the most part, because in some situations, yeah, jaywalking is like you can't get fined and stuff for jaywalking.
Yeah. But to bring this back to specialization and COVID, like in technocracy, that's my main concern is that we're no longer like our system was built on the idea that there are these rules, checks and balances basically of how the game of American politics is supposed to be played, how our government is supposed to run and things like that. And that was all thrown out the window when COVID happened. And instead of doing the right thing, which is like sitting down and having a discussion of what we have to do, which should have basically resulted in you're responsible for your own health. You need to take care of it yourself. We went to like a tyrannical system where a small cadre of specialists at the NIH and CDC ran the country, and they did a dog shit job at it.
Because people are flawed, but machines aren't.
Yes, people are flawed.
But machines aren't.
Machines are very flawed. Machines are very flawed
Because humans
because
made
we
them.
built them.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah,
it can get to
I
a
mean, I
point where
disagree with the notion that machines are going to be like better than us.
no, I think when
Yeah.
machines
Go
get to
ahead,
the
Dylan.
point that when the machines get to the point that they can like fix themselves and eventually like change the human aspect about them, then they will surpass humans.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I was thinking that mostly just about the whole rabbit hole you guys went on. The general point is that technocracy or even geniocracy, which is just like smart people or intelligent people ruling, I think that's also dangerous because even if you're smart, you can also be not wise. Even if you're a specialist, you could also still fuck up, right?
Yes.
So when we give a small hand of people, like you said, right, Delta, using your example, I'm not using it as the point, but right, the CDC, right,
Yeah.
all these people, small group of people given all the power, that leads to tyranny, that leads to corruption, that leads to infighting within America. We don't need that right now. Like we're the most politically polarized country out of any one of them currently.
We should have a cacistocracy.
What?
A cacistocracy. Government by the least suitable or competent citizens of a state.
It's a meme ideology. It's a meme ideology.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just
Instead of the most competent, it's the least competent.
You got
power.
autism? Well, become our new general. Come on now. You're getting enlisted.
But to bring this back to specialization, one reason why I kind of rant and rave against specialization is because if the more skills you have, the less you need to rely on other people to do that, and you become more independent, and then you can rely on yourself, and then if you can rely on yourself, you're not going to tyrannize yourself, and so that's just the best outcome. It's the best. It's the best policy against tyranny, basically.
It was coined by Thomas Love Peacock in 1829. Government by the worst element of society.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. I think we just need people in power who are very adamant about the Constitution staying as it is and
constitutionalists, yeah.
Of everybody is.
Yeah.
Staunch constitutionalists.
The problem is that I think liberalism, and I mean not liberalism like leftism. I mean liberal, yeah, like freedom
liberalism
and things like that. I think
the free exchange of ideas without being persecuted.
Yeah, I think liberalism is more or less dead because, as Sonic and I discussed a long time ago, there's been a kind of terrifying rise in authoritarianism on the left and the right. Especially, it's funny, like we talked about how like there are libertarians who are cheering on totalitarian regimes now, like in Argentina and across the world. And it's terrifying that even libertarians who are supposed to be for smaller government are saying that like tyranny is good.
Yeah. Even anarcho-capitalists are at this point glorifying totalitarianism.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point in our history, and I think this is kind of like I believe in the historical pendulum, how it swings left to right, left to right, left to right. I think most empires last for about 300 years or so, and they start to collapse in on themselves, and then something else rises out of the ashes of the last empire. So this is what's happening currently: is that the American empire, so to speak, is collapsing in on itself because of internal conflicts.
I don't think the U.S. will
It's
collapse.
inevitable.
I don't think it will.
But I think it's definitely something to be concerned about. I'm not saying it's an inevitable collapse, but I'm saying it's definitely a plausibility that should not be ignored.
Yeah.
So I'm not a subscriber of like the 300-year empire time period because, I mean, when you look at history, like what is an empire is kind of a nebulous thing because there were some empires that were like the British Empire, a unified system where it was, it had centralized power out of one country that ruled through various means. And then there were other empires like what?
Right. So what an empire is
Wait, wait, wait,
a
wait. Let
nation.
me finish up. Let me finish up. And then there were other empires like the Mongol Empire, which appeared to be a unified empire, but they were actually just an alliance of tribals from the Mongolian steppe who invaded together
There
for a
was
unified cause.
there was the Byzantines that lasted for like 1,000 years.
Hold on, I have someone knocking my door. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. But yeah, I'm just gonna add the Byzantines because someone had told me this earlier and I didn't fast check it or
Oh,
anything.
everybody loves giving the one exception to like the 300-year rule. Like just because there's maybe a handful of exceptions to the rule
Well,
doesn't
the fact
disprove the
that
rule.
it's when someone says that when someone says all empires last about 150 to 300 years, something like that, and then people give a handful of examples that shows that yeah, some empires do last for thousands of years on their own.
But the majority do not.
But yeah, because there's other stuff that goes on,
Vast majority.
but yeah, but the
It's a false equivalency. Like it's the vast
well,
majority of
if someone
empires.
well, the problem
are
is if someone says
lapsing after
every
300 years.
empire and then someone gives a handful of examples of empires, then it shows that not all empires last 150 to 300 years, right?
I would say for most empires, that's usually how they end.
Yeah,
About 300 years later.
sure, for most
they
empire,
start-
yeah,
they
for
start to
most,
convert into hedonistic
so
beliefs.
for most,
and they fall
sure,
apart.
but there's a lot of external and internal factors that that come out of that. A lot of internal and
There are
external
major factors as well.
there's a lot of external political factors that can cause empires to fall as well. It may not even just be necessarily internal factors. Internal factors can play a role in it, but external factors tend to play a bigger role than internal a lot of the time.
I think it's more of an issue of whether what we consider an empire, we have to really define what an empire is, and then at the end of the day,
Let's see.
I think, right? We've had I can give more than a couple examples, right? Of multiple empires lasting for thousands of years. And I know what the definition of an empire is, right? The definition of an empire is a unified nation that projects its power in a certain region of the world and has major influence over all nations that are surrounding it, or any external nation doesn't have the ability to fight back against it. So, for example,
Eh.
the United States is considered a hyperpower, right? We externalize all our force on other nations, so no other nation can get any funny ideas as to, oh, we should invade the US. No other nation would think that way. We have too much control. We have all the power on the world stage, at least. Internationally, we are the juggernauts. We are the world police. That's why people say that.
We're the juggernaut. I wouldn't quite
Because
call
we
the
are
U.S.
an
a full-on. I wouldn't quite call the U.S. a full-on empire.
An empire is a nation that projects itself onto others. Onto other nations.
I'm just looking at just empire. Let's see. An extensive group of states or countries under a single supreme authority, formerly, let's see, especially an emperor or empress, a large commercial organization owned or controlled by a single person or group. Denoting a style of furniture. Okay, that one's different. So it's
there's multiple definitions, but it's usually to exclude or include all the nations around you or have a certain amount of control in a region. So when we say the American Empire, obviously we're not saying it's an authoritarian dictatorship. We're saying that it projects its control onto other nations.
Well, projecting
not necessarily defeating the definition of empire.
Well, then you could say that China and Russia are empires too, then, right? Because they project some influence along.
Yeah, they do. They have an alliance. They have BRICS. They have.
Well, even like just on their own, China alone influences a lot of.
Projected their control onto Tibet. They've projected their control onto North Korea.
They projected in Africa, especially.
Of course,
Russia has projected its influence on Europe, but I wouldn't call them empires either.
I mean, absolutely, Russia is an empire, and I would say it's even more close to the definition you mentioned, right? Because Vladimir Putin is considered to be a dictator.
Can we pause for a second?
Sure.
Can we pause for a second?
What's up?
I just had a door-to-door salesman try to sell me something, and that was the first time in a long time I've had that.
I had one happen the other day.
So
yeah, some British guy came over. We hung out for a while.
Yeah, so that's why I had to leave. So anyways, give me just the what's going on? Like, what are we
So
discussing?
he said the U.S. was
We're
an
talking-
empire, and then I said that according to his definition, then Russia and China would be empires as well, and he said that they were empires too.
And what's the definition?
a nation that like
yeah.
puts its control onto other members of its region. Like, for example, the Sassanid Empire put a lot of control onto the Middle East. The
The
Mamluks put a lot-
Sassanids?
Yeah, the Sassanids, the Mamluks, right? The Umayyad Caliphate, they were all empires because even though it wasn't necessarily like just one man, they projected a lot of control onto a certain region of the world. Now,
And-
the US is considered to be different, like a hyperpower, because we control basically everything. We have the most amount of power on the international stage. That's why I consider the US to be an empire, not because we're run by one leader specifically.
Well,
but
it's
we
one
do
leader or
have
group. According to the
a lot of
definition, was
military
it?
and diplomatic control.
And I looked up the definition of an empire, and it didn't quite fit that. It was more so stuff like an extensive group of states or countries under a single supreme authority, a supreme political power, or several countries which exercise a single authority, a large commercial organization owned or controlled by one group or person.
There you go.
And
I mean,
I don't feel like any of
applied
those really fit the U.S. necessarily.
the House of Congress. No,
Well, I mean,
House
I
of
can see where Dylan
Representatives.
is saying. I can see where Dylan says we're an empire because we are what decisions we make in the U.S. have such resounding influence across the world. Not just even like military or anything, but like we pass a law here in the U.S. like some manufacturing law, and that affects how things are done in other countries, across the world.
Sure, but I
So-
wouldn't say that they
That's what
are.
I mean.
But they're not solely reliant on like what the US does. They have their own autonomy outside of the US. The US doesn't have like they don't play them like puppets. They don't control every whim or aspect like the British did or the Mongols or anyone else did, right?
Well, not all empires were like that. Like, I mean, he brought
Not
up the
all empires would
Sassanids.
be like that.
I mean, it's funny. The Mongols were actually not that controlling of their subject states. They demanded a little bit of tribute every now and then, but for the most part, like within the Mongol Empire, the unified Mongol Empire, for how little it lasted, it was actually like if if you were a part of it, you just paid a little bit of tribute, and then you were pretty much like
The US
And that's
self-sufficient.
why it fragmented so quickly after Genghis Khan died.
But the
Well,
the
also
US
his sons were
Turned
fighting
into
over it.
but the
Yuan,
US doesn't do
Golden
anything
War.
that I would classify as an empire, like what the British did in terms of subjugation. The Romans, Byzantines, the Mongols. We don't do
Well, I
anything
mean,
in terms of like that. In terms of empires.
well, that's just one flavor of empire. Empire is it's kind of a nebulous thing. It just basically, I mean,
It's a very
I don't like.
nuanced word.
Well, yeah, basically, what an empire is an influential nation across a region, basically,
Right,
kind of
Well,
what
then you
Dylan
could
said.
say like just about every nation currently exists as an empire in some way because they do.
No,
No.
Russia, most of Europe, Russia,
Brazil-
the U.S.
Brazil isn't
Europe-
an empire.
no.
Brazil isn't an empire because it doesn't have any influential control over any of the other states around it, like
Bolivia,
Paraguay, Uruguay.
Yeah, Bolivia
them.
barely has control over itself.
Yeah.
How many African nations do we have to go through before it's like none of these are empires?
Like, I can list 5 modern day empires that genuinely affect other places and have historically affected other places in recent years in the 20th to 21st century. Like, I can give at least 5. You want me?
I would say there's only like 5 at most, to be
5
honest.
at most, yeah. Like, here, let's start. United States, China only recently, Russia historically and recently, France historically and recently, and the UK historically and recently.
Japan,
Yes.
Japan.
In the last
No,
in the
Japan's
last
got
century.
Yeah,
Like in
Japan
the
got
last century.
Japan has.
like,
I wouldn't even
You
I
could-
wouldn't even say Japan was an empire. They tried to be an empire, but it didn't work out because
logistically, they could have never become an empire. That's the
Yes,
problem. They did
it was
not have
impossible.
the manufacturing power of the United States behind their back. That was
Yeah.
the problem.
they pretended to be an empire. They were like the Germans. Like everyone talks about how badass the Germans are during World War II, but it's just because they focus all their forces in one direction basically.
When it
And when you
comes
push
to
hard enough in one direction,
when it
you can
comes to the
accomplish
British,
anything.
like I would say you could under that definition you could say the Brits are an empire even modern day and historically. You could probably say India to an extent has
This is why the British Commonwealth exists, because they are still an empire.
Yes. Yeah, technically.
Yeah, they have massive influence over communicated states.
Yeah.
so you would add Britain
Also,
and India to that then, right?
Like I said, I already listed 5 great powers that have had
well,
multiple amounts of influence.
India is not an empire.
It just
Independent
recently
India.
gained its independence. So
Yeah,
I don't.
India is only recently independent, and yeah, I would agree. And the thing, it's funny because Britain actually they subjugated people, but they weren't as vicious as people made them out to be. Not to say they weren't vicious, but like um for the most part, the Brits let whatever lands they ruled. They were mostly ruled locally, and again, they were kind of like the Mongols, where
Well, they're
as long as you
puppets,
paid
right?
tribute to the empire.
It was a puppet.
Kinda. I mean, kinda. It wasn't like exactly like that. Like it depends on what you mean by puppet. Like there were governors that would like oversee regions, but they weren't
There's
like
also multiple types of puppet states. There's client states.
Yeah.
There's satellites. There's
Yeah, exactly. The thing, like with the British rule of India, it was really interesting because they had governors who would rule places, but for the most part, they would like defer to the locals to rule everything, and the governors were just there to make sure that like overall India remained under British control, but like they didn't run day to day things necessarily.
I think for most of human history, we've all understood the fact that you cannot completely subjugate a population without them fighting back, at least a little bit.
Or
Like,
without their
for example,
consent.
yeah,
I
without
mean,
their consent. Like, for example, like India was the Mughal Empire before the British made the Raj out of the eastern part, the East India Company.
yeah.
And they just weakened the Mughal Empire's resolve, and the people just got taken over. I mean, like
Or
that is
I mean,
just
even
military occupation, and then they just replaced the nobles with
I mean,
pro-British ones, and there you go. There's the government right there.
even with fucking British like English people came to America, they thought they were English people. England does something that these people who saw themselves as English didn't like, and they rebelled and made their own country. Like,
So, which is
And now they
like even
consider themselves to be American.
historically, Dutch, Germany, Germany, yeah, sorry, Italy, that's the word. Spain, those used to be empires as well, right? Historically.
well, I mean, when we talk about recent, we're talking about like in the past 100 years.
Yeah, I said
Like the 20th
historically, and I said well, you could say that the Dutch, even recently, because World War II, they still had like Indonesia or whatever it was.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, just because you have overseas colonies, that doesn't make you an empire because like the places they were
Look,
subjugating
the
were not.
Belgians had overseas colonies. Okay, they were not
Yeah.
an empire by any sense of the word.
Yeah, when we talk about influence, it's like the UK, whatever policies they made affected the rest of Europe.
And whatever policies the Netherlands made affected Indonesia.
Not no, well, Indonesia, but like okay, cool.
Did it affect Southeast Asia by any major way? No.
Well, with the was it the Dutch East Indies, right? They're the India Company, Dutch East India Company, right?
It affected what it so the Netherlands would make policy or they'd make a decision and it would affect their colonies and nobody else.
Correct.
Well,
And the rest
but the
of them
Dutch were
were by the
massive
British.
trade partners. So anything that they did,
Before the 20th century. Before the 20th century.
okay.
After the 20th century, they weren't. There's a reason why the Netherlands got steamrolled in World War II, and it's because
They didn't have an army.
they were
They're
they
more
weren't
focused.
anything.
They were more
Well, they
focused on
weren't.
trading than an army. So
Yeah, well, okay. The other thing is empires have military forces that can defend themselves. Like, yeah.
I mean, we can talk about the amount of influence an empire can have, but at the end of the day, I would say any area or any country that holds a certain amount of influence over like a part of a continent, right? Like Southeast Asia, the Middle East, right? Those types of places are considered to be empires, right? The
Okay.
Sassanids, the Mongols,
Sassanids.
yeah, the Sassanids. Sorry, I keep
You're
fucking
good.
saying it
You're
wrong.
good. You read it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
You learned it by reading.
yeah, I'll tell you all this. I'm gonna be honest here, a little bit of a diversion from the main topic. I didn't learn a goddamn thing in school. Like all this shit I'm telling you, talking to you right about now, didn't learn it at all.
I mean, I didn't learn half the shit I
Good.
know
Looked
in
it up
school
myself.
either, so.
I didn't learn anything about the Magyar invasion of Europe. I had to look all of that up myself, right?
I
You
learned
mean the
So-
Mongols who pretended to be Europeans?
I learned a
Yeah.
lot of my
The
World War
Uralic
II history off of Hoi 4, so.
Oh God.
How a Hoi 4 player thinks World War II went down.
Jesus
Massive
Christ.
encirclement in the Caucasus.
You should have saw our last
Anyways.
game. You should have saw our last game. It was fucking wild.
Bro,
Anyways.
it was fucking horrible. Oh my god, the way we fought that war was dog shit.
Big Poland.
Anyways. Empires are important, and if you're not important enough to defend yourself, then you're not an empire.
Oof.
Like,
Yeah.
if you only defend yourself, right, you're not an empire. If you can project your influence onto other nations, like the French, for example, when they put a client state into Spain, right, when they made a French person the king of Spain, they technically made Spain a client state, therefore they made him an empire. because they have a
The
certain
fucking
amount of
English
Yeah, exactly.
English
Over
royalty
Western
was
Europe.
French for like a year, for like 100 years.
What are you talking about?
But
Like
you
they-
mean German, because
they were French for hundreds of years. They were French up until William of Orange took over.
Yeah. They'd only spoke French, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
after
because the
1066.
Yeah, it's the Normandy invasion of the Anglo-Saxons. That's what happened. That's why we have our modern language now.
My
because of the
favorite
Normandy
thing,
invasion.
my favorite thing to do with my students is tell them about the story of the why there are French words in the English language, and I tell them that the Normans who were French, led by
Edward
Edward the Bastard. I say Edward the
the
Bastard, and they say, "Oh my God, he just
was
swore,"
the
and
one
I'm
that
like,
had
"No."
wedlock.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, "No, that was actually what he was called, and that's what he was known as in the day. He was known as Edward the Bastard." And then after he conquered, England, he became Edward the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his conquest of the Anglo-Saxons, that was one of the most significant bits of English history right there, is when the French took over.
Yeah.
Now we speak French.
Well, we're
French
basically
Vikings specifically, I guess.
well, yeah, we're French. We're German because English is a Germanic language at its
Mhm.
root. So we're
Yeah.
we're German speakers speaking French, basically.
And Spanish and Norwegian in some way, and kind of bit of everything.
Well, Norwegian is just Germanic. Spanish is Spanish is a
Most
Romance
of
language, which is
Western
based
Europe
on
speaks a
which is
Germanic
based.
language.
So yeah, you can basically
Oh.
you can
Hey.
broadly, very broadly, what?
After that, you should
What?
tell Dylan why everything's Germany's fault.
Oh god.
Oh,
here we go.
everything is Germany's fault because the Germans are a plague that they don't know how to stop. They caused the fall of the Roman Empire, basically. Long story short, during medieval history, they're the reason why medieval history sucked. Because the Holy Roman Empire, modern history sucked because of Germany. Germany sucks. They ruin everything. We should bomb the Germans.
He wants to kill all Germanic peoples.
Yeah, we should
Bro,
gun them
what?
down in a pit.
Minus
So
the
you would wanna kill
Americans.
me.
Yes.
I'm German. My last name is Germanic, so I would be dying too.
Hey,
Great.
Delta, you should kill yourself first. You should be the first one to die.
I need to lead by example.
He's gotta show the example that we all need to kill ourselves.
Maybe we shouldn't have nuked the Japs. We
Yeah.
should have nuked the Germans, even after they capitulated.
Jesus Christ. Jesus.
The nuking of Berlin is now a
Those-
fucking war zone.
Yeah.
The autonomous
those
free zone, free territory of Berlin where everybody's shooting each other.
those fucking when
when we had those nukes in Germany, just set them off, like the Davy Crockett gun and things like that.
Jesus. We should put a nuke in every single province, every single city and province in Germany, and just
Yes, space.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Nuanced discussion on Empire.
we're almost time. It's almost time. So
Okay.
I have listen. So I'm gonna be gone for like the next couple weeks because I'm going to Morocco for a super secret thing.
yeah,
So, that's not that secret, but still. So I'm gonna be gone for a little bit.
I
heard the
got
women are
Dylan here.
nice.
Dylan's chill enough. He'll talk with me, and McGuire will hop in every once in a
Dylan.
while.
Dylan is chilling. What a term.
Yeah, Dylan is chilling with Dylan. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Just killing everybody in Fallout New Vegas. Becoming a powder
based.
ganger.
Bro's killing.
Going
Bro's
to
already
Vegas
leading in the charge against the Germanic peoples.
Yeah. Fuck these Nevadan. Fuck them all. All gonna die.
The place of the first nuclear detonation.
I like Mr. House. I always find that greedy capitalists are like the best people to invest in because they always give you free shit.
Trickle down economics. Yeah.
Trickle down economics, bro. They give you free shit.
True. All right,
That's a topic about how we can talk about how trickle down economics isn't a real thing.
and
Ronald Reagan is the dumbest motherfucker to implement that type of shit.
true. He killed the middle class single handedly.
Yeah, no. I mean, his policies were fucking stupid, and also the whole Watergate incident, right? Or was that Nixon?
That was
That
Nixon.
was Nixon.
That was
Yeah,
Nixon,
that was
dumbass.
about it. No, that's okay. You get them fucking confused. They act the same. Okay, all presidents.
They
are
both have
criminals.
dementia. Yeah.
Yeah.
They both had dementia.
What did I say? All
criminals.
presidents against the wall, please.
All president against the wall.
They're gonna get shot by anarchist firing squads.
They're all
That's
good.
how it's gonna go.
They're all gonna fucking go in feet first, except for Coolidge. He can go head first.
Calvin Coolidge can rest in peace. Everybody else can rest in piss.
He goes in head first. Everyone else goes feet first.
Crazy.
Right, Delta.
Sure.
And he's fucking dead anyway, so it won't matter.
True. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gotta lead by example. Yeah.
Dead or... You should show
Sure.
it to everybody, like show his little fucking skeleton body just getting torn the fuck up. It's like that's gonna be you in a sec. Mr. Biden, Mr. Trump,
Obama. Clinton.
Obama, you're next too.
Clinton.
Don't
Obama
think,
and
don't
Michael.
forget about your black ass. Don't
Michael
think-
Obama and Barack need to go in together, holding hands.
Michelle too. Because
No.
Yeah, Michael.
Well,
Yeah, Michael. That's what I said.
Michael, yeah. Yeah, the man, the transvestite man, yeah.
Jesus.
When I have a story. I have a story.
Oh,
So
yeah.
wait, guys, I have a story. So when I was a lance corporal in the Marines, all lance corporals, they have to do this little. It's a class. It's called Lance Corporal Seminar, and basically you get propagandized about Marine Corps history, which the Marine Corps propagandizes a lot of Marine Corps history. And my platoon sergeant was the sergeant leading the class. And so instead of doing the reading, he just talked about the whole time about how Michelle Obama was a trans man. And I'd never heard this theory before. And this was years ago. This was like almost 10 years ago or something. All I remember from Lance Corporal Seminar is learning that Michelle Obama is actually Michael Obama. And there's no pictures of Michelle getting pregnant. And there's pictures of her with like a dick. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck? And that was my Lance Corporal. That was my Lance Corporal Seminar.
That's such a dumb theory. It's so fucking stupid.
Them broad ass shoulder. I saw something on TikTok too. Shows that.
I've known this theory for fucking years, and
know,
I've
I feel
always
like I
thought,
just
like,
got
man, this shit's
that.
fucking retarded.
Well,
Why
I
doesn't
don't
she just
believe
show
it.
her
I don't.
vagina? Why doesn't she just end the conspiracy theory,
Yeah,
guys?
and the
Maybe
conspiracies, Michelle. we all
she'll
wanna
just
see
start her
black
fucking
pussy.
OnlyFans.
Start the OnlyFans, Michelle. We want to see that pussy. What did Trump say? Grab her by the pussy.
Grab her
Yeah,
by the pussy.
Exactly. Show us the front butt, Michelle.
Yeah.
Show us the front butt.
Show us the front. When
Let
you
me tell you.
though.
Okay, here's some sage advice from someone who's been around the block once or twice. When you are hot and heavy in with a lady, do not under any circumstances call her anything below her waist her front butt. They do not like that.
I'm gonna test that theory with Claire. I'm gonna test that.
Fucking do it.
I'm gonna
Fucking
test
do it.
that
Live
theory.
stream it.
Live.
Let's test that thesis. Let's test that thesis real quick.
She's gonna be in here
You
like
need-
fucking last time and be like, I'm gonna be like, hey, I want some of that front butt.
You need to be like making out, getting
Get
hot
some
and
of that
like-
front butt tonight, baby.
We
Crazy.
we only do it like once a month, so it'll literally be ruined for that entire month.
Crazy.
Also, nah, never mind.
What?
We
no,
can't
no,
discuss that here.
Damn.
no. What is it?
God
Don't worry
damn,
about it.
once a month?
When you lose
Fuck.
your virginity, I'll tell you.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, I haven't either. So.
No, I have. I've been here. I've since 2020.
Bro's been around the block. Okay, he's got it. He's got
Right.
the yams. Okay.
Or is it
He's
2018?
had some yams on his lower waist. Okay, no problem.
No, 2020. It was 2020.
That's really what people say nowadays. They say like if you have ass or if a girl has ass, they say, "Bro, you got the yams."
Bro,
I'm
I
like,
got
"What the fuck?"
I got yams.
Okay.
One of the goddamn high schoolers said I was caked up. I took him to the office for sexually harassing me.
Bro, you're
Fucking-
looking a little thick back there, Mr. T.
Yeah, I
God
freaking took
damn.
him. I took him to the god.
Nah, he's
those,
Mr.
Those
C.
fucking kids at my school, they were freaking. They were sexually harassing me for like 2 weeks straight, and I had to take like 2 to the office every day just because they wouldn't stop sexually
Just-
harassing me.
Just remember,
Actually,
he
go
had
to
a
the office.
13-year-old.
Don't ever say you want to suck my dick.
Bro had a 13-year-old hitting on
Yeah,
him.
I had a 13-year-old hitting on me, and I had a
Oh my
12-year-old
God.
asking me about how certain functions of my body worked.
What
And
the
then
fuck?
telling you
Like,
how
you're-
fucking caked you were.
Well, the 12-year-old asked me how far I could ejaculate, which was
How far
not
you
fun.
cum
What
shot.
the
How
fuck?
far you can cum shot.
Yeah,
Hey, Delta.
yeah. I took
Delta.
that. I took him.
What's
I took him
for
to
the
the
record?
fucking office.
For the
You
record,
should've
how
just
far?
Said the size of a school bus, and then just take him.
For the record,
No,
how
I took him
far?
to the office because that is not appropriate. Fuck that.
Delta, for the record, how far?
I don't know. I don't
I
measure
gotta
that
say
shit.
about the size of a school bus. That's about how far my
Bro,
shit goes.
no,
Jesus Christ.
No, bro's dick's already the size of a school bus, alright? So, he's ejaculating at least a
That is
football
true.
field.
You have a big cock.
He's got
Jesus
he's getting at least a football
Christ.
field,
But
yeah.
no. So the high schoolers at my school are fucking unhinged.
They're
Crazy.
high schoolers, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, middle school, high school is the fucking
Well, no,
worst.
that was a mid. Well, yeah, that was a middle schooler. Anyways,
Middle schoolers and high schoolers are the worst. Yeah.
and then yeah, there was a 13-year-old who was literally like, she was like sexually harassing me and like.
Hey, Delta, you're looking pretty
Yeah,
hot
she was
today.
literally. She was literally doing stuff like that, and I'm like, please, for the love of God, stop.
You're looking a little thick in the trunk right there.
Yeah.
Does Mr. Delta have a level 10? No, okay, bro, I can't. I
They
can't do that.
they
right
say
now.
that too.
11
They say level 10 Gyat. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bro has level
That shit
100
is so
Gyat. What do you mean?
cringe.
Bro's got
I'll-
100 Gyat.
I'll be walking around. And they'll be having trouble with a problem, and they'll say, "What the sigma is this?" I'm like,
Oh
shut
my
the fuck up.
god.
Shut the fuck
Bro,
Hey,
up.
hey,
if I was a teacher and I had somebody say that, all the blood vessels on my neck would fucking pop instantly. My whole
Hey
neck
Delta,
would be
you
red.
ready for fucking cringe? Level 100 Gyat, Ohio Skibbity Sigma Riz Phantom Tax at 3 a.m. Grimace Shake.
Do you mew?
Mew.
I'm Mog.
Do you munt before you mew, or do you mew before you munt?
You edge or goon?
Oh, I goon.
Do you I found a new one. It's called Jelk.
What is
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, joking.
Jelk
What the fuck
Max,
is-
bro? Oh my god.
What is jelking?
the fuck is Jelk? Please.
It doesn't matter. These words are fucking made up. Who cares?
These
Well,
are
that's the
made-up
problem is
ass
that
words,
this is the new fucking language.
Like, I didn't know this that Riz. I didn't realize that Riz meant charisma. I
I
thought it
didn't
meant
either!
autistic. So well, and so I would say to the class, "Be careful, you'll get my Riz," and they would start laughing. And I'm like, "You want my autism?" And I didn't realize it meant charisma.
Oh, you were
Yeah,
hitting.
it's like
No
a
wonder
short-
the 13-year-old was
Yeah.
hitting on you. You were hitting on them first.
Well, fuck.
He
I
did say
didn't-
he was getting Rizzy, so he got
Jesus Christ.
he got Rizzy
All
with
right,
some 13-year-old guys.
He-
He got
Jesus
exposed. He's
Christ.
getting
He
DDP
tried to riz at the
exposing.
13-year-olds.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
You did that to
completely caught right
yourself
now.
because you
caught.
didn't look it up beforehand.
His next excuse
I
is that
thought
is
I
that he
thought
was
it literally
looking
meant
for a
autism.
cupcake.
No, you were hitting
His
on
next
her
excuse is that he was
first. You
looking
just
for
didn't
a cupcake.
realize it.
I didn't say it to her actually.
You
She
said-
like that one specifically. Like I walked in the classroom and she was like just on it, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Well, you said it to the class in general, right?
I don't think I've ever said that to the middle schoolers because I don't talk to them like that really.
You didn't know what it
It's only
meant.
the high schoolers that I said. Whatever.
Crazy.
Gee, Bro was hitting
Whatever.
on minors,
Bro's
I
gonna
swear.
say, I
They-
was looking for a
listen,
cupcake.
Feet
listen,
first
I've
in the
taken
wood
all
chipper.
those. I've taken all those kids to the office for sexually harassing me once, so I don't know. I don't know what you want from me.
I'm gonna send you to the office for sexually harassing the minors.
Well,
Unintentionally.
my bad.
Unintentionally.
I
Well,
was
don't
looking
worry.
for
Well, don't
minors.
worry. I will never say that to him ever again.
You will never say it anymore. Just Bro was on live
Don't
fucking
say it
I'm just
there
not-
in the
Bro's
jail
on
cell.
live saying that he
I'm
was
just not-
trying to riz up minors.
Well, no, I said no. Hold on. I said
Before
careful,
you-
you'll get some of my riz. Like as in like.
My autism.
Well, yeah, my autism.
Bro, that's what
In the
you
context
thought.
of what he was saying.
Yeah, in the context of what you
Well, no,
meant. Yes,
in the
but in the
context of charisma, in the context of charisma, it just means like, oh, you're gonna get like some of my charisma skill, basically.
No, that's not what that means.
You're gonna get 9 charisma in Fallout, right? That's how it works. You get all my
Yeah.
charisma.
No, the problem. I understand what it means, and no, it's not what it means.
Okay,
to,
what does it mean? What does it mean?
It means they're gonna like, in a sense, they're gonna catch your charisma, as in they're not gonna get it themselves. They're not going to learn it off of you. You're going to riz them up. That's what that means.
Okay.
Anyways,
Mr. D cooked?
no, Mr.
Is Mr. D cooked? Is Mr.
Mis-
Delta
Mr.
cooked?
Mr. C needs foot first in the fucking wood chipper, so he needs. Maybe we
Very
should.
well.
He's
maybe-
gonna he's gonna
maybe we
say,
should
"Oh, guys, I
reinstate-
was looking for a
In
cupcake."
honor of being the first Germanic person to die in the Great Germanic Crusade,
Great Germanic
You know what?
I will go feet first.
Just for Delta, I am okay with reinstating the death penalty. Just for Delta.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll reinstate the death penalty just for Delta.
Anyways, it's been a little over an hour. Is anything else y'all want to add?
Baby Gronk rizzing up Skibidi, Ohio. Level 10
Edging.
Yacht, Rukia, Annie Manga.
Joke.
I don't even know what half of this shit
Jelk
means.
Jelk maxing 100, Skibidi, Riz, Patrick Bateman, American Psycho, Mogging Sesh, Christian Bale Mog.
Fucking Chad.
Edging
Fucking
streak failed due to the explosion of my pants that just happened. Due to getting
Alright.
an encirclement in Hoi 4. Alright, that's it. Go ahead.
fuck. Wait for it. Oh no.
Yeah,
This
I
is it.
remember we got an encirclement in Hoi 4. I said, bro, I didn't even edge to that. I just exploded.
We were gonna post it on the
Why?
Reddit, on the fucking Hoi 4 Reddit.
I'm gonna post that shit on Hoi 4.
Did you
Reddit.
actually take a fucking
fuck
photo
about
of it?
I'm gonna take, like, next time when we get a juicy encirclement, I'm gonna take a fucking screenshot and I'll post it to the Hoi 4 Reddit.
Just encircle
Alright.
all of Russia. Jesus. Anyway, media, fucking
Just put that
Delta.
shit in memify.com.
medias.
Make it-
Go.
Couldn't even edge.
I don't really have anything prepared.
Well then,
I guess a boy and his dog again. There
okay,
you go. Go read Fallout the book.
lame. Dylan,
Kill
media.
yourself.
100 Questions, 100 Answers by Oswald Mosley.
Okay. Fucking. You should play The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. Fantastic game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Anyways, any last thoughts or other than Skibbity Riz and fucking I don't know Chad, whatever, Sigma.
Well, we kind of devolved the conversation to nothing, so yeah, no.
All right.
We started out really smart, and then we went really
started off
dumb.
really intelligent, and then we started talking about sixth graders, and then we just developed their mentality like instinctively. I don't know what the fuck happened.
We're all minors in our hearts. Just don't tell
Jesus Christ.
Just don't tell the pedophiles.
Yeah, I'm a coal miner. That's what I am.
I'm sure you love the
The
minings.
children yearn for the mines.
You love
The
the
children yearn
miners.
For the mines. That's my last. That's,
No,
that's my last
I
goal.
in Minecraft, I am a dwarf. I like go underground and live underground.
Yes. All right, I'm stopping the stream.
So.